Good morning, everyone. Um, I want to thank everyone who's here for this forum. This is being presented by the Bethesda Center for the Homeless. And today we're going to be speaking on our theme, which is advocating for the homeless. And with us speaking on the theme of advocating for the homeless, we hope to not only inform you, but to move you with the information that we have here. And not only just that, letting you know the detailed work that we do here at Bethesda for the homeless, for those who need our assistance and all of our services. And so that we can now finally get started, I'm going to do a formal introduction of our executive director. Her name is Baraka Ripto, and I'm just going to give a brief story, and then she'll also give you a little bit about herself as well, okay? And it goes like this for Ms. Ripto. She is our new executive director here at the Bethesda Center for the Homeless. Her research for on the Bethesda Center and Winston-Salem, Forsyth County is what prompted her to be compassionate and to want to drive to give back to the homeless community here. And this community here is something that she's passionate about. And as well, homelessness was also a part of her story at some point in time. Over 20 years ago, she was working as a single mother with 2 jobs, no permanent place of residence, out of options and nothing left. But what she had to go for was her faith and her determination and the assistance from a local homelessness shelter in her hometown of Jackson, Mississippi. Fast forward 20 years, she has the pleasure of serving the homeless community as the Bethesda Center's new executive director. And not only just that, she has a unique success story. And now she has come to the Bethesda Center to help the homeless to create more success stories like hers right here in Forsyth County, so that she continue to give hope, inspiration, and for them to aspire to be on their feet and not on the street. And I will now also give my executive director, Baraka Ripto, the opportunity to speak as well.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Gerald, for the introduction. As Gerald mentioned, my name is Baraka Ripto. I am the new executive director here at Bethesda Center for the Homeless. I am from Jackson, Mississippi, and I just basically want to say that this is a blessing and such an honor to serve the homeless population, which we refer to as our guests here at Bethesda Center for the Homeless. I'm so elated to be here in Winston-Salem and in Forsyth County. You guys have been so helpful, and the outpour and the support of the community has been tremendous. And I just want to thank you all for that and for embracing the Bethesda Center for the Homeless, because at the end of the day, we could not do it without your generosity and your help. Again, that's all I want to say. I'm going to turn it over to my great team that have been phenomenal every day in the things that they do for our guests here at Bethesda Center for the Homeless. And I hope you guys, you can hear it firsthand what they do, what it is that we're working towards. And I look forward to engaging more with you at our future events and fundraisers, and just getting out there amongst the community, stakeholders, and potential donors. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Baraka. We truly appreciate you being an advocator and as well as being the face of the Bethesda Center for the Homeless. Thank you so much for your testimony and you speaking. Now I will go into the next most important person here at Bethesda Center that helps us flow, and not only just flow, but continues to make an impact in the community for us. And her name is Ashley Martin. She is our associate director, and she's going to give you all a few words as well.
Thanks for having me, Gerald. So my name is Ashley Martin, and I have the luxury of serving as the Associate Executive Director here for Bethesda Center for the Homeless. And right before this meeting, I have to tell everyone, I was given a little note that says, please keep it short. So we're gonna make history today to see if I can actually listen. But other than that, we will certainly dive into what this experience is for our community. And I have to say that here at Bethesda Center for the Homeless, we're humbled by the outpouring of support during these challenging times, where the impacts from things such as COVID, unemployment, underemployment, eviction, family loss from long-term COVID has really forced our community to take a look at the traumas from the past 2 years and to project how we're going to move going forward. Now, as many of you already know, We operate as an emergency and temporary shelter 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. We've socially distanced for COVID, and we kept our doors open, our heaters and water utilities running, case management available to people, just so we can meet them where they are in their greatest time of need. We have the luxury of combining care, culture, collaboration, and philanthropy in an environment where kindness is the norm. We're here in the community where our partners and our neighbors will coexist together, and even without a statewide or national or international platform, we remain comforted and especially proud that our partners are literally our fellow citizens, and some even in our backyard. They have faces, they have names, favorite foods, perspectives that only Forsyth County and the Greater Triad can provide. And that really helps us to serve our guests with dignity and conscious empathy. Our board, our partners, staff suit up every day, ready to help each other and help our guests through times that are traumatizing. And for those of us who knows that stabilizing experience of homelessness, know that once they're on their feet and their basic needs are already met, they return with confidence so that they can be allowed to be our future professionals, service providers, and even our neighbors. What makes us different here at Bethesda Center for the Homeless is that it's vital to our mission that we continue to educate everyone that homelessness is a temporary circumstance. It's not a permanent condition. It can happen to anyone, and it can happen in an instant. We never know what life can bring us, but at the root of it all, trustworthy relationships that can take a turn affect the majority of our neighbors. Bethesda Center gives us a focus on the life transformation, and it's that particular component that makes us unique. We make sure that every person is met exactly where they are in their circumstances, at their level, and on their timing. Looking for one of those root causes of homelessness, it's really many. It allows us to provide customized services so that we can overcome and prevent instances of reoccurrence. We gain insight from community leaders like you, elected officials, property managers, medical facilities, and many other resources in our community that create and maintain permanent housing, allowing us to function as we were designed to, as temporary and emergency shelter for people in transition. For some of us, we also know that homelessness is pertinent to some of our homeless veterans. And what I learned coming here is that veterans actually make up 23% of our homeless population. 33% of them are men, and that's a nationwide fact. Many of our guests lack trustworthy relationships, and Bethesda Center fills in that gap where we all want to be close to family and have someone to call, or a friend or a mentor. That's where our case managers toe the line every single day for every single one of our guests who choose to use our services. That lack of relationship in our lives can cause a big hole, and forming healthy relationships can make all the difference between having somewhere to permanently stay, temporarily stay, and being able to get back on your feet for the long term. Illnesses and disabilities are other factors that affect our community. Chronic illnesses and disabilities prevent people from having jobs, and without jobs, they have no means of steady income. Without that income, we answer questions for them. How are you going to afford to stay for the long term? Where can you call? How are you able to afford something to eat? And things that may accompany that, such as medical bills, we work with community partners to address so that we fill in that gap, or if they fatally get ill, it can be a life-changing accident that they can choose to avoid and choose to have a path of resources to answer for the foreseeable future. And the beauty of a Bethesda Center is once we stabilize an individual, they can teach their children to stabilize themselves as well. So an investment with us, communicating with us, and collaborating with us is really a partnership for the long term, for generations to come, so that repeated resources aren't used on the same individuals over and over. And chronic homelessness is actually addressed through our programming. Abuse and people who are able to work but still have a poverty home situation are also factors that we address. We address unemployment, underemployment, and lack of affordable housing as we collaborate with our partners. Right down the street from us, we have an apartment complex where it can be up to $1,000 per month, but on $7.25 per hour, that's virtually impossible for some of the people that we serve. So without that, we want to make sure that no one is left without a home, that they do have resources in an equitable and thriving community that our other neighbors are able to enjoy as well. So we know that this road can be long, but Bethesda Center is here to support, and our guests have neighbors in us, so that as long as it may take, they also have resources to come back to. We hope to get through this together, and we hope that you'll listen to our guests as they provide their insight. Thank you for listening.
And thank you so much, Ashley, for that great presentation and letting everyone know what we represent here at the Bethesda Center. I truly appreciate it. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing a brief video here for the Bethesda Center, and you all will see it in just 1 second. All right.
I have slept on an empty bus with a bunch of other people. I have laid on a stick crib with a bunch of other people on a nasty old mattress. I've done that too. A lot of times there were other homeless people and they would ask you, are you all right? You know, a bunch of them was in the same boat that I was in. And you can't judge a person because you don't know that person's story. You don't know what they're going through.
You could be homeless on all kinds of things. Your house can catch on fire. You can lose your job or something like that. Drugs, house, man, all kinds of things. Everybody here for different reasons. It ain't only drugs. Everybody got their own story. But being homeless is a struggle though.
Mentally, I'm good. I take my medications religiously. I'm going through a little pitfall in life right now. That's why I'm here.
My mom passed in April. I had to come home and I had to do some things for my mom. And so once we put our house up for sale, that left me almost homeless. So instead of staying in Salisbury, which has nothing to offer, I came to Winston.
I was clean 8 years one time relapse. It's the crowd I keep going around. I had to think about it. Can't blame nobody me. Can't blame nobody me, but I like it better, the real me. Because on drugs, that don't be me.
I've been diagnosed with what they call PTSD. And it's very, very severe case of it. And if I didn't have God and pray a lot, I got to the point where I was so angry every day. And because of praying and because of the support systems, it's been easier. And you have a lot of people in here who have that. It might not be as severe cases in severe forms, but you have a lot of them that fight it every single day.
I had a couple brothers died, and I didn't know how to grieve. So I started drinking. And that what led to my homelessness. I have 2 sons. I have a grandchild. I've seen one of my sons, but I saw my grandchild about twice in the last 13 years. I've been homeless.
If you don't remain positive in life, life is going to be short. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean chronologically, but you're going to short your life mentally really, really early. So I had to learn that. I had a lot of doubt, a lot of times, especially when I was out dealing drugs.
This right here always be so I call it my comfort zone, safe zone. The long from here, I ain't gonna do no drugs. I ain't do no drugs. So all my friends and they were like, you gonna stay, you ain't go to the shelter for what? They doing drugs. It had me pick right back up on drugs. This right here, my safe zone. I'm more safe right here because you know I go out, I come back.
Because anybody can go homeless at any time. You know, people are one paycheck away from being homeless. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just how you make it. You know, you can stay here and be homeless and wallow in your guilt, or get up and do what you need to do to move forward. So that's what I did.
That was beautiful. I don't know who all that touched, but it touched me. Hearing people's reasonings for resulting to homeless, and it's everyone comes to experiencing homeless who ends, they end up homeless for different reasons. And I definitely feel that the Bethesda Center a shelter story tells some of what our community is going through, and how we can help them through mental health, through psychological health. And that actually leads into our next segue. I'm going to be introducing Jeffrey Shaw. He's a guest speaker here on our panel, and he will be speaking on the psychological battle that happens when you're going through homelessness and everything that could just be going on with an individual in order for them to overcome that. So now I'm introducing Jeffrey Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Juro. You're right. I think the video kind of sums it up, that there are a lot of factors that kind of contributes to homelessness. And in that process, sometimes homelessness can cause mental health issues or exacerbate a mental health issue to where someone that was previously, kind of stable because they had a home environment, now that mental health issue seems to be magnified a little bit due to some of the stresses that happen while you're homeless. And some of those stresses are, fear and anxiety, because there's a lot of uncertainty there when we're talking about not knowing where you're going to sleep at, not knowing where you're going to get your next meal from. That can create some anxiety, fear, also some trust issues, because, you're living in, out on the streets, and sometimes even in the shelter is a hostile environment, right? So it can cause you to have some trust issues, but prior to that, a lot of times people come into, as the video showed, they come into homelessness because of their mental health issues. That's the reason why they're in the state that they're in. So it kind of separates them. Sometimes family withdraw from individuals that have mental health issues, or they lose their home. And now they're found themselves on the street and in shelter, and they're not getting the proper care that they need. So that also kind of makes the situation, much worse for the individual that is experiencing some type of mental health issues. So, the goal and the caveat that we need as advocates for homelessness is that once we get that, sometimes just getting them a place to stay isn't the only answer, right? Sometimes they need that wraparound care, they need that holistic care to make sure that not only are they safe, which is one of the basic needs, as Maslow kind of pointed out, food, water, shelter is the basic needs for humans, but sometimes that's just not enough, just kind of relocating them to a safe place. Sometimes it's about getting that wraparound care to where they need, physical health taken care of, or dental health taken care of, and also their mental health taken care of. So just kind of looking at it from a holistic approach is that, hey, just because they have a shelter now, everything is not fine and great, that sometimes they do need some extra processes, some extra steps to kind of make sure that all domains of their life are kind of being met to a degree.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I definitely want to chime in and say everything that you said is true, and that when it comes to care for us as individuals, we all have to always have a full rounded of careness. There's more than one thing when it comes to taking care of yourself. There's mentally, there's physically, there's spiritually, and all of these come all of these come about when you come homeless. You still need these basic cares that you would have had, you know, at a younger age, or even if you never had it, you need all of these things to come together at some point in time in life. And I thank you for shedding a light on that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And really that is a good takeaway that, you know, once you're homeless, you don't have access to those resources,
Mhm.
right? And that can make the problem, you know, much worse than it is because it's like not taking your medication. It's exactly what it is. It's not taking your medication, whether it's for
Mhm.
blood pressure, whether it's for cholesterol. And this situation is to kind of keep you mentally stable. You know, you don't have access to those resources that you need to even get to a place where you can conceptualize where you are in life and put yourself in a better situation.
That's correct. That's correct. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Shaw, for all your insight and you speaking out and being a guest speaker out on our panel. I truly appreciate you.
Yes, sir. No problem.
All right. And now I'm going to introduce our shelter director. Our shelter director, her name is Keisha Gonzalez, and she's been doing a phenomenal job here at the Bethesda Center. She's the major point of contact when you do get settled in here. And so we're going to start off with Keisha with the first question, which is, what does the day and night shelter look like at the shelter? And give a brief outline of just what that looks like.
Okay, so the Bethesda Center is a low barrier housing first 24-hour organization. We provide services that meet basic human needs such as shelter, food, health, and safety. The two main qualifications we have for entry is that individuals can take care of their everyday basic needs, such as getting dressed, eating, using the restroom without assistance. The other qualification is that you're able to, up and down our bunk beds. Our day shelter is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and anyone could access a day shelter. You don't have to just be one of our temporary residents that reside here at night. We offer places to sit down, to get out of the elements. We have computers which aid in housing search and employment needs, Wi-Fi so that our guests can stay connected to their employers, their families. We also have shower and laundry areas for guest use and a medical clinic on site every Tuesday to meet those medical needs. Now the night shelter, that runs from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And around 8 o'clock, we have 3D services, which is dinner, dessert, and devotion. Dinner is brought in by our advocates and volunteers and churches who come to serve dinner and speak messages of positivity to our guests.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you for shedding light on the advocators that help us and the things that is necessary for the day and night shelter. But on a follow-up side, I would also like to know what support do we provide them in the shelter day and night as well?
Okay, so we help to distribute necessities such as clothing, shoes, blankets, shower items, and anything personal hygiene related. We offer bus tickets to our guests who have medical, mental health, or job interviews. But most importantly, we offer case management services to all of our guests so that we can help them address immediate goals to help them break the cycle of homelessness so they could go on to live more self-sufficient lifestyles.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's great to know that within someone being here that they're having the support from the shelter director on up, that it translates, and that there's actually an outline and that there is a system that we follow to make sure that they get what they need. So thank you for expressing all of those things, Keisha.
All right, thank you.
All right, now to move on to the next segment, I will be introducing Trina Brinkley. She is our case manager. She's over all of our case managers in terms of that management part. And Trina has been with the Bethesda Center, has been an advocate now for some years. And she has done a great job here, making sure that people get all the services that they need to be with the right programs. And she's going to give you a little bit of an insight on that. And first thing she's going to talk about is the services that we provide through case management for the homeless. Trina, you have that.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries, no worries. Easy.
So basically, the role of the case management is to assist guests with identifying their needs, connect them to the resources that they need, support them through the process, and following up on those outcomes. And we also monitor and help them manage their resources so that they can become more stable. So our ultimate goal is to ensure that they have access to not only the resources and the services that they may need, but that they utilize those resources and those services, because that's going to contribute to their ongoing stability. So that is basically what case management does. We link, refer, assess, we monitor, we support them through the process. We meet them where they are to help them get to the next phase.
That's great. That's great. And as well, what is the criteria to receive services for case management?
So within 48 hours after a guest has a shelter intake, they will be scheduled to meet with a case manager. And from that point, they will have a case management assessment. And that's where we identify those needs and look at the barriers and things of that nature. And after the assessment is completed, we get together and we review their outcomes and, discuss recommendations that will be best. And they are assigned a case manager through the duration of the process.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Trina, for giving us the insight on case management and all the work you have done for all the time that you've been here at Bethesda. Thank you so much. Next, I'm going to be going into, I'm going to be introducing our housing specialist, who is Trina Brinkley. I mean, not Trina Brinkley, I'm sorry, Shantae Parker. Excuse me.
Okay, it's
Shantae,
okay. I don't mind
Shantae
being
Parker.
Trina. I don't mind being Trina.
Shantae Parker is our housing specialist, and she's going to give you the background on what goes into housing an individual here at the Bethesda Center as well.
Right. First, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of people who are experiencing homelessness. So one thing about housing, people who are experiencing homeless have all types of backgrounds, whether that be a veteran who is disabled, a person who has lost income due to COVID-19, or domestic violence. So when finding housing, we have to know that individual. We have to know their barriers. We have to know what they have and what they do not have. Little things such as their ID. As you know, or you might have heard that when you are living in a place not meant for human habitation, you're more than likely going to misplace, or something is going to be stolen from you. And more than likely it's going to be your wallet, or the things that you have your precious items in. So having your ID, your social security card, and your birth certificate is one of the main credentials that you must have to get housing. Once you have those credentials, then we're going to move into identifying where you want to live. We want to identify your barriers, your background, your credit score, all of those things. So you are staying in a place that you want to stay in and that fits your lifestyle and your barriers. So when I'm out there in the community, the job is to create, foster, educate, advocate housing for those who are sometimes not able to do it for themselves, not because they're experiencing homelessness, because they are mentally tired. They are tired. They have been through enough and they need that support. So that's where I come in and the team come in and say, hey, we'll help you with your process. So once the housing has been identified, then we'll see if they qualify for any type of program based on, again, their background, their barriers, if they're chronically homeless, their age, their disabilities, their household size, or if they're living in a shelter, but they do have children, they're staying somewhere else. We have a program for that which we collaborate with the Housing Authority, where we can unify families. If you're chronically homeless, we have supportive housing. If you are working but just need a little bit of help, maybe rent assistance for 3 to 6 months, we have that wonderful program, the Rapid Rehousing Program, which these programs, all of the case managers advocate and work diligently to make sure that once they're housed and they are stable, what that guest considers stability, then we put that wraparound support. Jeff mentioned about having that support. So once you leave our shelter, we just don't house you and that's the end of it. We provide that supportive services that we know that is needed to create stability.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for definitely expressing everything that we do.
Thank you.
Not just from the point of getting them housing, but making sure that they're able to be stable from paying the rent if need be, making sure that they're in the right program. I also want to
Yes, sir.
inquire about why do we house them with certain housing programs, and what does that look like when we house them with certain programs?
We house them with certain programs because even though Bethesda would like to offer everything, we can't. So it's important that we partner with other agencies that offer services that we don't serve or we're not experts in. So that's why we partner up with other agencies, and also just to make sure the guest is getting that wraparound service that they need, again, to what stability looks like for them. Because as Ms. Baraka tells us on a daily basis, you get all the help you need now, but you can't keep coming back, sucking up all the resources. We got to share the resources. So that's why it's the case manager and the team goal to make sure that once that guest is stable, that the wraparound services are provided. We partner up with agency, community, people in the community, whoever can help with that individual's outlook of stability is. So that's why we do that. And there's also tools that are used as well to see what programs guests qualify for, all the way from an intake to an assessment to the outcomes, and then a team's input based on their expertise.
That's beautiful. That's great.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to ask you, if possible, can you share the experience of one or two guests that have been housed and how grateful they were, and just what went into that to you, getting them to that point?
Okay. First, I'd like to say at Bethesda Center, it's just not one person that does the assignment. It takes the whole team. So once you get a guest that's been assigned to you, your team members, they have their input and they give you some suggestions. And with that assistance, I can tell you of a young lady. I don't want to say her name because I don't have permission, so I'll call her guest one. And guest one has been housed for 4 years, and this young lady, her reading skills were low. Her reading skills was low, but I won't say her education was low, but her ability to comprehend, because she did have strengths in other areas. So as simple as filling out a money order to pay her rent, that's what we had to go step by step to assist her in that. But nevertheless, she's been stable with her stability looks like, and it just took, again, supportive services, checking in on her, allowing her to call me when she felt overwhelmed, or y'all remember when we had the bed bug pandemic. Boy, she went crazy over the bed bugs, and we had to tell you can't have everybody in your unit and how to get rid of it. So those challenges that may seem simple to one person was really grand to her. So I was able to assist her with that. But I think that the key thing is, one, the team, and two, really listening to your guests to see what it is that they want. Like, again, my stability may not look like somebody else's stability, and that's okay. The main thing is that you don't have to end up back here at Bethesda Center. So she was definitely a success because she's still housed, she's happy, she's paying her bills, and she has food in her cabinet. When I went to go conduct a house visit and an inspection, that's the one thing she wanted to show me was her cabinets. And I couldn't understand the importance, like why was it so important for her to show me the food in her cabinets? But
Yeah.
then I had to think about where she came from. She came from a household where that was a luxury to have, you know, and for her to achieve that goal was just a success. For her, she has a freezer full of food. I mean, I want to go and be like, can I borrow some hamburger meat? But I'm just, I'm just saying she has learned to budget because she's on a income based and or she receives SSI, but Bethesda Center still assists her with a little bit of financial help, which we're about to wing her off because she has let us know that she can do it on her own now. So that's her success. So her success is my success as well. Thank you.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Shantae, for that story. It's definitely good to just have context to what's going on with people and how the small things can end up meaning so much. Something as simple as, you know, having your cupboard and your everything filled with all of what you need, you know. And even when it comes to guests, you know, I think everybody, like you said, you know, she had some guests come over to her apartment and she had to learn you can't invite everyone to your home because, you know, people
Yes.
come with things that you don't expect at times. And so it's all a learning process. But the best part about learning is learning with someone else and not feeling alone when you're learning. Because often when you're alone, when you're learning, you don't have no one to, you know, have feed your ideas or to tell you that, well, I do it this way, but you can do it your way. You may just need to make a few corrections. And there's,
Exactly.
as they say, it's more than one way to doing things in life. You know, often we're taught there's only one way, but in reality, there are 12 different ways to do things. And that's why we are here to show people that even though this is your story, and even though this is what you're going through, that we can help you get through this. Your story is not like the last person, but the result can be the same as the last person in terms of getting you on your feet.
Yes. And Gerald, can I please add one other thing?
Yes, you may.
One thing I think about, especially about Bethesda as well, is that when it's allowed, because when COVID hit, we cut back on notice, but the house visits. It's one thing to house a guest, but it's another to go and see how they're living, because you can have a meeting with a guest and they can tell you, oh, I'm doing great, everything is fine. And you go to their house and it's just a total wreck. And that can lead to figuring or finding out that this person has had a mental health breakdown. You know, your house can tell your story sometime. So I think that's awesome that you know, we go in and do house visit when time's permitted, you know. But I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so now we're going to move on to the next part of our forum, and it's going to be me discussing on a few different things, and it's going to be about advocating. The first thing I'm going to speak on is what's the role of a advocator. And the role of an advocator is to not only believe in something, but to do it with purpose, and to not only just offer money, to think that money is the answer to everything. Services, your time, your thoughts. Most people in the world want to just be heard, and they need to have someone to understand them. And advocating for somebody is hearing them out, their needs, and seeing how that you can directly impact them, and then to support them, you know, to advocate them and advocate for them and doing the right thing. And that's what we do here at Bethesda. We advocate for those who are not able to pick themselves up at this moment, and we're going to support them to be better and do better. This isn't the end of your story. This is a part of your testimony that will lead you into the bigger part of your life that you can look back at and say, I came from that, and I had someone advocate for me, believe in me, trust me, know that I can do it, encourage me. And that's what advocating is all of those things that come together when you encourage someone, when you are supporting them the best way that you know how possible. And most importantly, you're hearing them out and you're getting to know them. Because we all have things that we favor in life and that we advocate for, things that we personally like, whether it's brands, whether it's certain companies, you know, it may even be shoes. You know, there's things that we all advocate for and that we say we're only going to, you know, do this for these reasons. And so the homeless needs to be understood in terms of why we advocate for them and why they need to be advocated for. And that's my first point on advocating for them. My second point is going to be related to what advocating for the homeless looks like. And so what advocating for the homeless looks like is volunteering your simple services, whether it is coming down to a shelter nearby, whether it's Bethesda or anyone, but on behalf of Bethesda, whether it's coming by to want to serve lunch, whether it's to want to help clean, whether it's wanting to speak to them and give them a moment of, to give them a speech of purpose and to uplift them. Advocating doesn't, like I said, doesn't always pertain to money. It's an action-based word. And so that's what it looks like when you advocate for the homeless, is to come out, show your face, or show your direct support, and for that to be felt. And that's what we do here every day. And that's what the community has done for us. And we always want to make sure that we all continue to do and continue to grow. Because even when advocating, you want to make sure that you improve on the areas that you may have lacked in, or even adjust to the new things that are happening in the world, such as COVID. I know COVID has made it a hurdle for some to do some of the things that they want to do with advocating. But thank God to technology, we have enough of what we need to make sure that we have a direct impact. And the last point I'm going to have is reasons to advocate for the homeless, and the other reasons I've sort of spoken on it already, but the other reasons is the best thing in life is to be selfless in certain situations, especially when you have the opportunity to. No one has ever lost anything, has lost everything by giving something. And that's a key note, because you need to be willing to give in order to receive. And I think it's an investment not only in yourself and your personal feelings and instant gratification, but it's an investment in terms of you knowing that you're doing the right things in life to help someone else out and not feel that they should have to figure it out on their own. We all need help figuring out things. We all need help even seeing things from a different perspective. And that's always a good reason to want to advocate for the homeless, to show them a different perspective of life and show them a different way to be able to rise up out of their situation, to get on their feet and get off the street, and to make sure that they have a home, and to make sure that they have transportation, and to be a working member in our society and not have to stress over not having, simple necessities. And so that's the main reasons why we want to advocate for the homeless. But now that I've finished my part, I'm going to turn it over to our Associate Director, Ashley Martin. She's going to speak to you as well about advocating, and I'm going to let her have it now.
Okay, so advocating is essentially compassion. It's compassion that is actuated, it is live, it is ongoing for those who need it the most. It is a part of our community that makes us a part of something bigger. And as we know, Bethesda is certainly bigger than our name just on 930 North Patterson Avenue. I want to include a little thing. If I could leave you with anything else, it would simply be that Bethesda Center, we affirm the significance of accessible, affordable, and healthy housing. We champion that process of intelligent resource sharing so that we can stabilize our economics, our local, social, emotional, and public health of our entire community. Our services enrich the quality for every single person that comes to our door, and even throughout the triad. The beauty of how we work together is that once we learn to be independent, that information passes on generation after generation, so that our programs are really long-term investments for generations to come. And that's the pinnacle of what our advocation looks like. By partnering with us and investing with us, you can ensure that your part of your legacy is lived every single day at the Bethesda Center. Your legacy of affordable quality housing is easily accessible to everybody every day so that our kids can be strong scholars, they can be professionals that get back to work with their families, our neighborhoods, our economy, even our senior citizens are able to return to the active grandparents that every single one of us have known to come to love and embrace. We bounce back by thriving as a culture every single day, and we value that here in Forsyth County. As partners, you're part of our priority. Your support, because of your representation and stability, you provide health and vitality that we all strive for. And as we reflect on those service levels and how equal access to the whole care-being of North Carolina, we know that we can exist together at every single income level. While it's nice to be multimillionaires, we can also thrive next to people who are making 10 times less than us, and they're perfectly functional in our own neighborhoods. So together, that collective impact creates a valuable system of care where the stability of everyone leads to our homes, our schools, our businesses, the quality of life, and our relationships with each other. And since we're already committed to enhancing our own lives, I want to invite every single person to be with me to support Bethesda Center for the Homeless, and know that your friends, whether they're present with us today or whether they're going to view this in the next week, month, or year, you're welcome to come and visit us at 930 North Patterson Avenue and be a positive impact for the long term. You don't have to have a home to have a voice in our local affairs. And the variety of that legislation has you help us have that voice to bring empowerment, not only to individuals, but to the issue of homelessness that affects us all. It's not an answer to have everyone without a home be at 930 North Patterson Avenue, but it is a solution to put them in a place where they can thrive and be invited to be your neighbors. So if you have any questions, please call us, come by. We're open every day, 8 to 5. You can call 366-722-9951 and find every single one of us, and we'll be happy to help you with any answers you have.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for definitely explaining more even on advocacy. Definitely, that was great. That was great. Now, what I would like to do is I'd like to open up the floor for the Q&A for anyone who may have any questions here at the end. You'll see at the lower part, if you use your cursor, if you bring it down, you can go to Q&A and you should be able to ask a question. And once you ask the question, I'll answer it verbally. So if there's any questions right now, you all may go down and ask questions. And also, while we are waiting for if there's any questions, I'm going to share my screen here for everyone to see our events page that we have and how you can donate with us. So in just a second, I'm going to show and how you can, should I say, advocate with us. I'm sorry. And just 1 second, you all. Alrighty, there we go. Okay, so here, what you all are seeing is our events page, and with our events page, it has all of our information. It has our goal in mind of what we're advocating for. You can register on our, this will take you to our website and it'll let you register to be a part of us, to volunteer and those things. And you'll see it down here as well, advocating for the homeless. You also see text advocate BCH to 4144, and that there you will be able to text to want to advocate for us in any kind of way that you feel the need to. And then if you scroll down, you'll see a few care packages and things that have been designed here that you all will be able to see. And that's our events page as it comes towards that. I'll also show you our BethesdaCenter.org page, which is right here that I'm showing at this moment. And if you click on things right here at the top of the screen, which is what we do, urgent needs, how to get involved, contacts, all of those things are there. Everyone who has been listed as a panelist. All of their information is here for contact. So simple as clicking it and you come down to the very bottom, you'll see faculty, staff, case management, etc. So that is what we're doing. And this is also another page to advocate with us as well for you all to see. So, okay, I got a question. So I think I'm now gonna unshare. Okay. So now that I have now that we have a question in the Q&A. The question states, is there any type of outreach to those living in the tent communities in Forsyth County? And I don't, wait, is there, Shante, would you want to answer this question for me, or do you want, question states, is there any type of outreach to those living in the tent communities in Forsyth County?
Yes, there is. And Trina, please chime in at any time. I believe we are partnered up with the Empowerment Center with case managers who go out into the community to service the outreach folks who are experiencing homelessness that are living in tents. So yes. So so if we're not there, then we're definitely giving supplies to give to them.
Yeah.
So there is some type of outreach. Trina, just chime in at any time.
Yes, in terms of outreach, we do participate in homeless outreach with Empowerment Project and Cities with Dwellings. And like Shante said, if we're not physically there, we do provide items. We are in communication with that particular staff that may be out on that particular day, just in case they run into guests, to, you know, give them a message of connection or engagement for us. And so yes, we are participating in outreach and community work.
Yes, and I'd just like to add, so you know, even if they're staying in a tent, they're welcome to come and utilize our day shelter as well, to do things such as wash their clothes, take a shower, or get their hygiene needs, like the shelter director had mentioned, Keisha Gonzalez.
Great, that's great.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions from any of our attendees? Anyone have any additional questions? Please do ask questions. Please do, if you have any. Oh, you're welcome, Miss. Yeah, you're welcome, Miss Dawson. No worries. That was me thanking the person who asked the question. But any further questions from anyone? I'll just give it a minute to see if anyone has any additional questions. Okay, well, seems thus far, I think we may have either answered everyone's questions, or if not, maybe there'll be a time later that people want to reach out and ask those questions. Nonetheless, I want to thank everyone who has attended this forum. We're going to now begin to close out, and I want to thank my panel as well. Thank you all for presenting the information and definitely showing Bethesda in the great light that it is. And as well, I want to thank our executive director and her doing all the amazing things that she does as well. Did you want to say anything in closing, Ms. Ripto?
Yes, I just want to say thank you guys. You're a wonderful team. I can't do it without you. If one of us fall, we all fall or fail in that matter. So I just want to thank you guys for the phenomenal job that you all are doing. I want to thank our attendees. I want to thank people that are getting our message out there word of mouth. And we appreciate everything that the community does to help us to be able to help those that can't help themselves. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. And I will now adjourn this meeting. Thank you all. Appreciate you.